We won the war on inflation. More lies from your government. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 15th. And, of course, what a crazy week, which started out with that vile attack on Israel from Hamas. This is getting so ridiculous. It is scary. The hatred in the world, the hatred here, and of course, all being promoted by governments trying to separate so they can conquer. It is ridiculous. It is sad. It is a tragedy that we sit back and take it as well. But of course, there are so many issues here and so many innocent people lost for no reason. And yet you have the university, Harvard, coming out supporting the attack and blaming Israel for it. Even Larry Summers, a famous economist from a graduate of Harvard, is condemning what they say and what they're doing. And where is our leadership standing up? It's amazing how the conservative voice can't get heard in social media, but the hatred can be heard in social media. And isn't that ironic when you look at what's going on here? I think if you're supporting what is going on, then you should have your fucking head examined. I mean, this is a joke. The destruction of the greatest country in the world, which is unfortunately quickly becoming not the greatest place in the world. And we're going to sit by and stand back and watch as they now tell us. A famous economist came out and said, we won the war on inflation. Well, I don't know about you, but I know that inflation is skyrocketing. And last week's CPI and PPI numbers, which were hot to begin with, aren't even close to counting what the real cost of inflation is, what the real damage to the American people is, the destruction of the middle class that they continue to hide from, the destruction of our jobs market with the bullshit reports that we get. Okay. And the jobs that we've actually lost, the amount of homeless people that are on the street because they cannot work. Okay. Again, we can have the conversation all you want, but if you're someone who believes those numbers that are reported by government, you really should evaluate your process of believing what is actually fact, because the fact is that inflation is soaring. The fact is that you're paying probably 20 to 25% more this year than last year for your goods and services and to live. And the average American has a big struggle in trying to live day to day with a family. Okay. Try filling up your cars. Look at the price of gasoline. Look at the taxes that you're paying. Where's the money going to come to feed your family? Okay. Not good. And of course, you've now got Qatar talking about creating a massive oil shortage. Okay. And what's that going to do to prices? But let's forget about that. I mean, everything's hunky-dory here. Everything is great. That's what they keep telling me. Every day I keep hearing these glowing reports about how everything's going. And yet all I see when I walk down the street is hatred, homeless, and people that can't afford to eat. Very, very interesting. I mean, as you look at our Federal Reserve, which we told you right here on these airways that they would fuck it up. And of course, naturally, the continued hike of interest rates is not beneficial. Of course, the problem doesn't stem from the hiking of interest rates. The problem comes from the going to zero. Okay, you might think that might have helped. It did nothing but add way too much money to the money supply. It helped destroy the free market system because you have a Federal Reserve that continues to intervene, okay, in a market that should be determined by price discovery, by supply and demand. That is how money and products and businesses should be evaluated. what are you willing to pay for it? Okay. And if the price is too high, well, then the vendor is going to have to bring the price down or they're not going to sell it. But of course, intervention makes everything different. And of course, this time will not be different. You can bet your ass on it. Okay. The line for emergency lending at the Federal Reserve from banks has never been longer. Okay. Which only tells you that the banks are over leveraged once again. And once again, the American taxpayer will end up bailing out these pieces of shit that spend our money like drunken sailors, knowing that we're going to bail them out. But I got to tell you, this whole net zero is collapsing. But of course, it should have never begun. Okay, the net zero, the EV process, the climate change. Look, I don't believe in climate change, but you do. Hey, good for you. I have no problem with that. I have a problem when my government forces on moronic rules and laws, okay, trying to do something that cannot be achieved. If they had a genie in a bottle, they couldn't achieve what they're trying to get done now. And in the meantime, they're destroying the middle class once again with their process. Okay, listen, you want to get to net zero? Why are all the funds that were created for net zero collapsing? Why are all the places in Europe pulling out of the climate accord? Because you can't afford it. Nobody is prepared for it. You know, we haven't done anything with our infrastructure in this country in 50 years, 60 years. Are we going to fix the infrastructure so that we can actually handle what we're trying to do? Or are we just going to penalize the Americans and the middle class and take their money so that government can piss it away with nothing and steal half of it? Okay, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. They're all guilty of stealing our money. Okay, yeah, yes, we do have a president that's a hater, but we'll get into that in our commentary later. Okay, but I mean, you've got the COVID disaster debacle. Well, guess what? Pfizer's now paying for that disaster because it was all bullshit to begin with. As we stated on these airways, the day that they announced the lockdowns, we called bullshit. Okay. And of course, it turned out to be nothing more than bullshit. And again, it was more of anything. It was more of chemical warfare from China sending over a man-made disease. Okay. And of course, we've got these strikes going on. I hope they bust all these unions. Okay. I don't care. Listen, the unions, when they were first designed, were terrific and were needed for child labor, for women's labor, for slave labor. They were desperately needed when they were created. They are no longer needed. Okay. You want to have a union. Let's quit with these ridiculous union dues and making the heads of the unions rich, because they're not helping the overall employees. And all that extra cost gets passed back to who? Oh, the consumer. Okay. So the consumer bears the weight of everything, because we all know that government does not make money. They make debt. Okay. We all know that the Federal Reserve only prints money. They don't make money. They make more debt. Okay. So again, you've got inflation skyrocketing. You've got, all of a sudden, as we saw on Friday, crude oil is exploding higher. Obviously, that is always the case when there's trouble in the Middle East. And of course, what I said earlier with Qatar, discussing creating a massive short covering of crude. So we'll see where that goes. Gold exploded, but I think you have to remember one thing, that markets get a little bit jumpy once in a while. We'll talk about that a little bit more in our market report. But the Fed is going to continue to hike rates. No matter what you think, no matter what you've heard, they're going to continue, because they are so far away from their moronic 2% target that it's not even funny. And the sad thing is that the markets would fix that by themselves if the Fed would get the hell out. Okay, which goes back to why should we have a Federal Reserve? What good do they do this country? And at worst, why are they not audited legitimately? Okay, so you've now got, of course, McCarthy was taken down as the speaker, and they can't even find a speaker now. So were they looking for the right person to figure out how to steal more of American payers' money? Okay, or what? I mean, You've got all kinds of things going on, and yet the government in times of turmoil can't even put together a plan and bring together a speaker. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. To me, it sounds like a hell of a lot of trouble. But at the end of the day, okay, we've got big issues in this country, and you cannot continue to just say that, well, it's the greatest country in the world. It may be, okay, and it certainly was. But as in all great empires, this is the time when empires start to fail. From the Roman Empire and now to the United States. And if we don't do something about it, we will fail, because we've got too many people that are too goddamn lazy to get a job. We've got too many people that are too much blindly supporting the hatred in this country. Okay. And I have pretty good experience in it since I was brought up as a hated Jew in the middle of integration. So I can actually speak to a lot of these facts, and I have never seen the amount of hatred in this country that I see today. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 15th. We're going to step out here for a break and come back with our market report right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Well, I hope you had a great week. And of course, markets remain slow, but our sponsors remain busy. And of course, they are just places that I hope that you'll check out for yourself. Again, it's places that I use, that I have vetted myself. And of course, they are brokers. And, you know, I have a lot of brokers, but the two that I prefer, and for commodities and for futures, it is Capital Trading Group, CTG. Listen, they got great service. They're going to take care of you. You call, they're going to pick up the phone, and that's what you want. If you're calling your broker, you're not calling to say, how you doing? Okay. Same thing goes for a trader broker, for equities and options. I mean, $10 a month flat fee. You can use our automated trading at no charge. I mean, how could you not want to look into that? And of course, both of their websites are scrolling on the sides. And of course, our high school program, which, some pretty good news. Looks like we're going to get back into a couple of full states. So that should be some good news. And of course, you can help us out if you'd like, because as you know, I have funded it, 90% of it myself for the last 10 years, and hope that we can help educate our people, because God forbid, we do need help with education, especially when it comes to finance. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bob Horowitz. Let's get back to the show and, of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 15th of October. And of course, as we look at the markets, pretty interesting week. The markets were higher. They were kind of whippy. But I thought there was a very interesting sign when you came in on Monday. The equities were getting creamed. Crude oil was spiking to the moon. And of course, what did that mean? Well, there was the attack, the vile attack from Hamas in Israel. And of course, so many innocent dead. But by the end of the day, Monday, the markets had changed their mind, and no longer was the terror attack as big of a deal. And of course, we saw a rally, and for the S&P and the NASDAQ, they had positive weeks. The Russell continues to get hammered, which is again goes into our theory of what the government's doing to small business. And of course, the Dow was pretty flattish. Okay, but weak. And I think they've all reached a certain level of support, of resistance. And I would expect that let the selling begin once again. But overall, we are still short across the board. The S&P, Dow, Russell, and NASDAQ. The dollar, which we no longer trade, but the dollar continues to go higher. And I ask this all the time. Where's the BRICS? Where's the BRICS nations who are going to destroy the U.S. dollar? Well, again, remember, the markets will tell you. They will give you a clue. Euro currency continues to get hammered. We are short. And I do tell you that it is going to 88 cents. Not this time, but at some point. Okay. Bitcoin was a little bit lower again last week. We're still long Bitcoin. But, again, Bitcoin is going to be, it's either going to collapse one day or it's going way up. I mean, again, listen, I told you, I believe in Bitcoin. I own it. Okay. I own cryptos. Not a lot. But if they go to zero, they go to zero. That's, again, when you trade in an environment like that, you have to be prepared for zero. Bonds and notes had a little bit of a pop last week, but they were pretty ugly. And the bigger part of the rally came on Friday. But look, interest rates are going higher. Bonds and notes are going lower. We remain short. Okay. The metals Platinum didn't do much, which we don't trade it, but I like platinum, but it was flat for the week. But gold and silver exploded higher, and especially gold. And listen, not a surprise. Fear assets, a perfect scenario. Too many shorts in the gold market. Uncertainty, boom, buyer, short squeeze. Friday, gold up $60. I want you to remember one thing, okay? If they're going to go high, if gold's going to go higher, if crude oil is going to go higher, there will be pullbacks. You'll have opportunities, okay? If they spike them up again, all that means that they're really not going much higher, and it's just a matter of time before they collapse once again and go back to where they were. Again, I'm not telling you that they can't go higher. I'm telling you that logically, and you have to look at this and understand that even if they're going to go higher, they're way too far off the mean, and there has to be some sort of a pullback. In the meantime, we're long gold, we're short silver, platinum we don't trade, but we would be short. Copper was lower, we are still short. I don't know if I said crude oil. Crude oil, we are now short. We got short. We were supposed to get short, but we held because we knew it was going on. We did sell on Friday into the rally, okay, because it is supposed to be short. Natural gas had a lower week, which we are long. That's a very weather-related commodity and very interesting to see. We'll see how it plays out. As we look at the grain markets, big week for the grains. They actually were up for the week. And as we told you on the Bubba's Daily Update that we were going to go into the report on Thursday, the WASDE report long, and they exploded higher. And again, it wasn't that we know more than anybody else. It's just you look at how much they oversold it. Okay, very similar to what you're looking at the gold market right now, how much is overbought. There's going to be some retracement. Now, I do think that, we're still short grains, okay? But as I've told you, I bought in a separate account just to have some representation to the long side because I plan on holding it. I do think that grains, they'll chop around. They're not going straight up. But I do think that the next bigger move will be to the upside. In the meats, we would be short across the board. And they're starting to show some real weakness right now, especially when you look out into the forward curve. For example, hogs are 69 cents in December and only 74 cents in February and 81 cents in October. It's the divergence in the spread is getting very bad, and I would suspect to be a seller in all rallies in the meats, in the softs. Cocoa was higher, we're still short. Sugar was higher, we're long. Cotton was higher, we're long. OJ exploded higher again, and we're still long. And coffee was a little bit higher, and we're still short. But the overall picture is that markets are quiet. There's a lack of volume. There's a lack of activity. So it's just a real great time to be very careful when you're trading and understand that, you get these big moves, and don't panic and chase up gold and chase up crude oil right now. Let them come back to you. I assure you at some point in the next few days, there'll be a big enough pullback because remember, a week ago, crude oil was $95. Okay. Now it's only $85. All right, we're going to stop by here for our final break and come back with our commentary right here on Bubba's Online, Sunday, October the 15th. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel with you again. We got sponsors, I have other brokers, but Capital Trading Group, trade your brokerage, screwing on the sides. High school program on the bottom. You want to help us out? Great. You want to help yourself out? Check out the brokers. Again, it doesn't matter who you use. It's just I'm giving you who I think is better and who I use. And of course, with some of the new things we're working on, we've got some great results and some great new products coming. So we'll check it out. And I urge you to check out those brokers because they're tied in to what we're talking about. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary and, of course, my football picks. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 15th. And of course, as we do every week, we give you a little bit of piece of commentary. And obviously it's a lot of always to do with the politics. And of course, our president, who is a known racist, a known Jew hater, a known Israel hater. And look what happens under his watch. Hamas attacks, vile attack. Okay. And what do you hear out of the White House? What have they done? Okay. So under this president, you have seen the Russia-Ukraine conflict and billions of dollars given to Ukraine. And you see Russia, Hamas attack Israel. And what do you see? Very little, a couple of words out of the White House. But where's the outreach? Okay, where is the funds? Where's the help? Okay, where's instead of saying to calm down, where is the criticism of Harvard? Okay, President Biden, where is the outrage for what is going on? We have not seen that much from you. Of course, we never see much from you, but we have not seen much to you about Israel. Now, we know you're a Jew hater, but don't you think that even though that, because the American Jews are the ones who put you in the office, okay, because without them, voting blindly for you, a racist person who's voted for every racist bill in history, I don't know. I think I'd be looking to take care of Israel, and I think that Israel being one of our top allies, okay, and of course we know that you ignored intelligence that was given to what was going to happen. So, again, we'll see what it does, but I'm sorry to say that I don't feel very good about the treatment of Israel, even from this country, especially with all the protests and things going on. And again, I'll ask you, President Biden, where's your outreach? In the meantime, it is Sunday, and of course we have football. And one game's already on its way, so we can't give you that game. But we do like the Chicago Bears, believe it or not. The Chicago Bears plus the 3. Okay. And then the ugly toilet bowl of the week, believe it or not, the New England Patriots plus the 3. Have a great week, everybody. Be good, be careful, and just be careful when you go out, because, again, if you go to areas that could be potentially higher risk, you may see it and you may be a victim of it. So just be careful of where you go. Live your life, but don't put yourself in jeopardy. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bubba's Bottom Line. We'll see you next time.